Hey guys, Professor Bill of Comic Book University and the Fantastic Four issue #1. Man, this comic doesn't seem that big, but it's heavy, man. It's like they weighed it down with awesomeness. All right, let's get right to this, man. We got, first off, I love that they're doing the Steve Ditko memorabilia thing here. I love that they're doing this. This is awesome. So they got the Doctor Strange, the first appearance of Eternity. Yes, Steve Ditko created Eternity, and he also created the Living Tribunal. And they were made to be a lot cooler than what he originally made them for. Marvel wound up making it a much bigger, more expansive idea of what they would be, but still fantastic. Also, they put in the final chapter that he did, which was just one of the most beautiful scenes ever with Spider-Man. This whole that ended in that scene right there. Man, absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad they did that. Quesada, Cebulski, and Nick Lowe all have conversations about the contributions of Ditko. So that's really cool. I'm very glad they did that. DC had been doing that too because of Ditko's time over there. So I'm really glad. Marvel usually is really lax on doing stuff like that. They'll have like a blurb or something. Historically, it's always been that way. DC has cared more about their creators, even if they've only been there for a short time. But this was really good that they took care of Mr. Ditko like that. So very happy for that. Okay, so there are 3 stories in this comic book. The third one depends wholly on the first one. So basically, Johnny and Ben are they're doing their things. I guess this is all happening after the current storyline, that's the story arc that's happening in Chip Zdarsky's Marvel 2-in-1. So the Fantastic Four seem to fully have their powers. They're okay. In the meantime, the guys the boys are just being boys, and you get to interview a whole bunch of different characters who used to be in the Fantastic Four. Also, Madame Medusa, who became Queen Medusa, her sister Crystal. Wyatt Wigfoot is in this, along with Jennifer Walters, who is the She-Hulk. They had an interesting relationship before in a Marvel graphic novel, which I have got to talk about one of these days. Basically, some Yancey Street kids. They wind up breaking into and stealing a Fantastic Four flare gun. So it gets shot up, and all of a sudden they're, oh, let's go! And no, it's not really. And Johnny Storm wants to try these 2 kids as an adult, which is like, dude, enough of trying kids as an adult. There's a reason why there's trial for adults and trial for kids. Stop the whole trying kids as adults thing. That's just so asinine. So like that, I'm telling you, if there was a reason to make me dislike Johnny Storm, that's the way to do it right there. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, they realize it's a prank. Ben Grimm is cool. He's like, they're Yancey Streeters. He used to be a Yancey Streeter. And, it's basically Jack Kirby with rocks. That's all the Ben Grimm is. So anyway, he just lets it go. He drops all the charges. Ben isn't happy with, what do you call it? What's his face? Johnny Storm isn't happy with it. There's a quick little rehash of an old Fantastic Four story that we've never read before, but there's this version of it, and I love it. Turns out that Susan Storm is not such a great singer. That's funny. That's funny. But I had a crush on her for so long that, you know what? I don't even care, man. Don't even care. Johnny apparently has the voice of an angel. Like, this guy's got the coolest powers. He's got all the honeys just all over him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a honey tripper. And now he really is a honey tripper. That he's got an awesome singing voice. Dude, this guy's got everything going for him. He's a mechanic. He's into cars. He's into all the cool things that you want to be his friend. You want to be his girlfriend. All this stuff, dude. Like, dude. I think the moral of the story in this comic book is we all need to be more like Johnny Storm. So, Ben actually proposes to Alicia in here, and it's awesome. And of course, Johnny decides to ruin it because it is what it is. That's just who he is. We also get to see Reed and Sue. That's right, it actually does happen in this first issue. Now, do the Fantastic Four actually reunite in this issue? No, they don't. And the comic is very self-aware. Dan Slott is very self-aware in this comic book that he didn't reunite them in this issue. Instead, the final story is just a one-page story with the Impossible Man. It's literally on the very last page right before you crash headlong into the cover. Beautiful, 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 hysterical story. All right, well, the first part was beautiful. The Impossible Man from Pop-Up, that was just hysterical. That was the hysterical part. I loved that. The way that they're reestablishing all the characters in this, dude, I'm starting to think to myself that pretty soon they are going to bring back Uatu the Watcher, because why not at this point? The third story is about Dr. Doom, and I'm not so particularly pleased with that one. Make no mistake, it is a, here it comes, a fantastic story. But that's not actually what I was looking for. What I'm looking for is the idea that Slott basically makes Dr. Doom evil again. His face is all effed up again. I guess we'll find out more about that in Dan Slott, in Chip Zdarsky's Marvel 2-in-1. I'm sure that he's gonna, because I've said it before, I'll say it again, they are definitely going to be working with each other. They worked with each other in the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man and Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man books. They're going to work together now that they're both writing. I know that the Fantastic Four is Chip Zdarsky's favorite characters. Asked him that himself. He told me that himself to my face. Absolutely his favorite character. So I have no doubt that Chip said to Dan, listen, I'll handle all that stuff. Don't worry about it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. In the meantime, yeah, Doom is back in Latveria, and they're basically just returning everything to the status quo. I really liked Doom as a good guy. I know a lot of people don't, and you know, we're all entitled to our opinions. It's cool. But I myself, I really loved Doom as a good guy. I always felt that he was a good guy, especially after I read Dr. Doom and Doctor Strange. What was that? Marvel graphic novel number 49? 49. A lot of Marvel graphic novel stories here. Oh my God, issue number 1, first print is right behind me. Death of Captain Marvel. But the point is that yeah, Triumph and Tragedy for me was just one of the most beautiful comic books ever written. And I just thought Doom is the perfect good guy. You know what I'm saying? The tragic hero. I love that. So I always wanted him to be a good guy. But if they're going to return him back to being a bad guy, this was the way to do it, what they did in here. Absolutely love this. Guys, don't forget to check out your opportunity to get an exclusive, like individually, you alone have this cover, exclusive variant comic. Go and check out the second video in the playlist this week. It's the one about exactly what I said, a Fantastic Four issue number 1 exclusive variant from Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. I'm so used to saying that it just falls right off my tongue. Exclusive cover by Mike Mayhew. Anyway, that's it. That's it. That's really all that there is here. They don't actually get reunited, but we do actually see the full team. We don't get to see the kids, which is odd, but I'm sure that all of that stuff is going to be realized eventually. It's just not there yet. But the final issue, or excuse me, the final story, the third one-page story with Impossible Man does tell you when they're actually going to reform. And I could tell you when that is, but I'm not going to. Get the comic book yourself. It's like literally the last panel. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Fantastic comic book. I loved this. Like, even if you don't know who the Fantastic Four is, I think if you read this with an open mind, your heart will start to swell and you'll be like, dude, I really can't wait to see a Marvel's first family come back together again. Even if I've never read a Fantastic Four comic book again, I think you'll really get the feeling of how much people love the Fantastic Four by reading this comic book. Seriously, check it out for yourself. All right, guys, that's it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.